10 transgender celebrities we all admire.
I am a woman, I live my life as a woman, and that's how I should be perceived.
Prepare to be amazed and challenged as we unveil 10 transgender celebrities we all admire. From groundbreaking achievements to heart-wrenching struggles, these trailblazers will shock you with their resilience. Get ready to meet icons who've shattered stereotypes and inspired millions. But which celebrity's story will leave you speechless? Stay tuned to find out. Gemma Cowling. Gemma Cowling, hailing from Adelaide, South Australia, experienced a significant mismatch between her gender identity and her physical body from childhood. She revealed, "I think I knew it as a child, whether I expressed it or not. Hence why I spent my entire childhood in dresses and all of my friends are female." Her path to self-realization and transition was fraught with difficulties, including social prejudice and discrimination, especially in her school where she did not find a supportive or inclusive atmosphere. Gemma disclosed, "I actually transitioned the moment I left school due to her apprehensions about the school environment and her inability to express her true self there." A significant turning point in her life occurred in 2016 when she was spotted by a modeling agency and subsequently signed with Azalea Models, making history as the first Australian-born transgender model to be represented by an agency. Her first runway appearance took place at the Adelaide Fashion Festival in the same year, and she later joined renowned agencies such as Chadwick Models and Milk Models. Gemma's achievements in the modeling world have been both a personal victory and an influential force for the transgender community. She has leveraged her visibility to advocate for acceptance and inclusivity, defying conventional notions of beauty and gender. Gemma emphasized the significance of authenticity, stating, "There is nothing more important than expressing who you truly are," especially in relation to her involvement in Toning Guy's You Define You campaign. Janet Mock. Janet Mock, born in 1983 in Honolulu, Hawaii, always knew she was a girl, despite being assigned male at birth. During her childhood in Hawaii, she was fortunate to be part of a supportive network of transgender friends and mentors, as noted by The New Yorker, who described her finding a protective company of a glamorous cadre of transgender friends and mentors at the age of 12. Her path to self-discovery and transition was challenging. In her memoir, Redefining Realness, Mock details her time as a teen sex worker in Honolulu, a means to fund her transition. A significant step in her journey was her decision to undergo gender confirmation surgery in Thailand at the age of 18, as reported by Blackpast, which stated, "She decided to have the surgery so that her body would fit her vision of herself." Mock's education at the University of Hawaii and New York University paved the way for her media career, starting at People.com. In 2011, her narrative was highlighted in Marie Claire, establishing her as a prominent representative for transgender women of color. She authored 2 New York Times best-selling memoirs, Redefining Realness and Surpassing Certainty. An advocate for transgender rights, Mock initiated the Girls Like You's empowerment campaign and spoke at the 2017 Women's March on Washington, emphasizing the need for an intersectional and inclusive approach to freedom. In 2018, Mock broke new ground as the first transgender woman of color to write and direct a TV episode for the FX series Pose. She further made history by signing a significant content creation deal with Netflix, becoming the first openly transgender woman of color to do so with a major studio. Janet Mock has graced the covers of several magazines, including Harper's Bazaar, British Vogue, and Marie Claire, where she also contributes as an editor. Don't bail on me yet. Share your thoughts on this video in the comments. Your input might just make the next one better. Jamie Clayton. Jamie Clayton, an influential American actress and model, has significantly impacted the entertainment industry, especially through her roles as transgender individuals. Born in San Diego, California, on January 15, 1978, she has been a trailblazer in the LGBTQ+ community, advocating for equal representation and opportunities. Her career-defining moment occurred in 2011 when she secured a recurring role in HBO's Hung, playing Kyla, which set the stage for her to display her acting prowess in various projects. In 2012, Clayton starred in the Emmy-winning web series Dirty Work and appeared in Are We There Yet? Her role as Nomi Marks in the Netflix series Sense8 brought her widespread recognition. In this innovative show, Clayton played a transgender character, a political blogger, and a hacker in San Francisco. She expressed her interest in the role, saying, "I was primarily interested in Sense8 because of the opportunity to play a transgender character written by filmmakers Lily and Lana Wachowski, and to be on set with them." Clayton has consistently faced challenges as a transgender actress in Hollywood, where she is often pigeonholed into transgender roles. However, she has been unwavering in her dedication to playing a variety of characters and has been a vocal advocate for equal opportunities. Clayton has emphasized, "I passionately advocate for equal opportunities," emphasizing the importance of considering actors based on their skills rather than their gender identity or sexual orientation. Nina Arsenault. Nina Arsenault, a renowned Canadian performance artist, playwright and writer, was born in 1974 in rural Ontario. Initially living as Rodney in a working-class family, Arsenault pursued a feminine beauty ideal through over 60 plastic surgeries and documented this journey through various mediums. Her work includes live performances, photography, film and print, offering an unapologetic view of her transformation. A notable aspect of Arsenault's career is her contribution to Fab, a Toronto-based LGBT magazine, where she wrote a regular column on transgender issues for 36 issues. She has also made appearances in television series such as Train 48 Inches and Kink. Her autobiographical one-woman shows The Silicone Diaries and I Was Barbie showcase her experiences, including playing Barbie at a Toronto gala for the doll's 50th anniversary. Her work has been explored in the book Transperforming Nina Arsenault, an unreasonable body of work, edited by Judith Rudikoff and published in 2012. Facing significant life events, including a death hoax in February 2021, Arsenault established the Nina Arsenault Fund to support her art projects and local trans artists. She openly shares her experiences with homelessness and the challenges of creating art amid life's chaos. Despite these adversities, she remains an influential speaker on gender, sexuality, fine arts, and transgender rights, using her personal story to challenge cultural constructs of sex and gender. As a celebrated transsexual artist in Canada, Arsenault continues to challenge norms and redefine womanhood through her innovative work. In her own words, "I've been tearing down the walls of our culturally constructed notions of sex and gender through my vulnerable, complex, and deeply personal accounts of my own life." Love this video? Show some love with a like and a subscribe. Hate it? A like would still be awesome, and your feedback in the comments will help me improve. Sharon Cohen. Dana International, whose real name is Sharon Cohen, is an acclaimed Israeli pop singer who gained prominence in the late 1990s. Born in 1969 in Tel Aviv to a Yemenite Jewish family, Cohen knew she was female from a young age, even though she was assigned male at birth. Her love for music was ignited at age 8 when she saw Ofra Haza perform at the Eurovision Song Contest. Despite financial constraints, her mother supported her musical aspirations, and Cohen publicly identified as transgender at 13. Cohen's career began with drag performances, impersonating well-known female singers. In 1993, she was noticed by Israeli DJ Ofer Nissim, who produced her first single, Saida Sultana, a parody of Whitney Houston's My Name Is Not Susan. That year, she also underwent sex reassignment surgery, changed her name legally, and released her debut album in Israel, which went gold. Her popularity surged in the mid-1990s with albums like Umpa Tampa and Maganuna. In 1998, she represented Israel at the Eurovision Song Contest with Diva, winning first place. Cohen remarked, "I was very nervous, but I knew I had to do it. I wanted to show the world that I was proud of who I was." Despite resistance from conservative groups in Israel, her Eurovision victory was celebrated in Europe, making her a symbol of acceptance and reconciliation. She continued to release successful albums and returned to Eurovision in 2011 with Ding Dong, also joining the judging panel of the Israeli talent show Kokav Nolad. Ian Harvey. Ian Harvey is a distinctive American stand-up comedian and actor, recognized for his perspective as a transgender individual in the entertainment field. Born in Portland, Maine, and raised in the rural area of Bridgeton, Harvey was inspired by comedy from a young age, with influences such as The Carol Burnett Show and Rich Little. His comedy career commenced in 2002 at a Portland comedy club, and he later relocated to Los Angeles in 2006. There he gained notoriety for his candid and witty approach to transgender topics. In 2007, Harvey started producing and hosting The Ian Harvey Show, a comedy talk show at the renowned Largo Club in Los Angeles. A significant opportunity arose for Harvey in 2006 when he joined Margaret Cho's tour as her opening act. Cho later included him as a regular in her off-Broadway burlesque comedy show, Margaret Cho's The Sensuous Woman. Harvey's appearances on platforms like the Logo Network's Wisecrack Out Laugh Festival, One Night Stand-Up, and ABC's Comics Unleashed with Byron Allen established his reputation in the comedy scene. In 2010, Harvey showcased his one-man show, parts sold separately, at the Melbourne International Comedy Arts Festival, focusing on humor related to sex and gender. In 2011, he introduced another solo show, Balls Out with Ian Harvey, at SF Sketchfest in San Francisco. Harvey's groundbreaking approach and openness in discussing transgender issues have been pivotal in the comedy industry. He once stated, "I'm not just a queer comedian, I'm the world's first FTM transgendered comic," which, when put into context, will make his anecdotes about his own phobia of public restrooms all the more side-splitting. Despite the challenges faced as a transgender performer, Harvey has stayed authentic to his identity and comedic style. His talent for resonating with diverse audiences has garnered accolades, with Frontiers magazine describing him as quite possibly the most unique stand-up comic in the country. Hari Neff. Hari Neff, a groundbreaking Jewish-American model and actress, has been a pioneer in the entertainment industry as one of the first openly transgender people to gain widespread recognition. Born in 1992 in Philadelphia, she spent her childhood in the Boston suburbs after her parents' separation. Neff has characterized her younger years as a mix of being a weird, chubby, popular and artsy Jewish kid, an overachieving, overprogrammed public school student, and a rebellious teenager. Her career milestone occurred in 2015 when she became the first openly transgender woman to be signed by the renowned IMG modeling agency, a move that opened doors in the fashion industry for transgender models. Neff rapidly rose to prominence, featuring in runway shows for renowned designers such as Gucci and H&M, and in 2016, she became the first transgender model to be on the cover of Elle UK. Around the same time, Neff's acting career also gained momentum with her notable role as Tanta Gittel in the Emmy-winning Amazon series Transparent. Her portrayal of a transgender character led to a Screen Actors Guild Award nomination. Reflecting on the experience, Neff said, "Finding my new voice and my new body and a new set of roles to play, which felt so much more authentic. I'm a better actress than I am a male actor." Despite her achievements, Neff has candidly discussed the struggles she encounters as a transgender person in the entertainment industry, stating, "Sometimes it's hard not to get completely reduced to being transgender. I've never written a song specifically about being transgender." She has been a vocal advocate for transgender representation and acceptance, using her influence to highlight the community's challenges. Lana Wachowski. Lana Wachowski, originally named Lawrence, was born in 1965 in Chicago, Illinois, and forms half of the renowned Wachowski's filmmaking team alongside her sister Lily. Their influential work, especially the Matrix trilogy, has significantly impacted Hollywood. The sisters were deeply influenced by comic books, science fiction, and fantasy during their upbringing. After leaving college, they initially ran a house painting and construction business in Chicago before transitioning to filmmaking. Their 1995 script for Assassins caught Warner Brothers' attention, resulting in their directorial debut with the 1996 neo-noir film Bound. The Wachowskis gained further prominence with the 1999 release of The Matrix, a sci-fi action film that merged philosophical concepts with impressive visual effects. The film became a cultural hit, leading to 2 sequels and establishing the Wachowskis as innovative filmmakers. In 2012, Lana Wachowski publicly disclosed her transgender identity during the press tour for Cloud Atlas, a decision driven by a sense of duty. She explained her choice to transition during her acceptance speech for the Human Rights Campaign's Visibility Award, stating, "I chose to change my exterior to bring it closer into alignment with my interior. Once my family accepted me, everything else has been a piece of cake." Lana's openness made her the first major Hollywood director to come out as transgender, a pivotal moment that contributed to greater LGBTQ+ representation in the film industry. Lily also disclosed her transgender identity in 2016. The sisters have continued to innovate in storytelling with projects like the Netflix series Sense8, which delves into identity, empathy, and human connection. Lily Wachowski. Lily Wachowski, born in 1967 as Andrew Paul Wachowski in Chicago, Illinois, is the younger member of the notable Wachowski's filmmaking pair. Alongside her sister Lana, Lily has made a significant imprint on Hollywood, especially through their co-creation of the innovative Matrix trilogy. During their formative years, Lily and Lana were passionate about science fiction, fantasy, and comic books, which significantly shaped their creative direction. Post-college, they operated a house painting and construction business in Chicago prior to entering the film industry. Their 1995 script for the thriller Assassins garnered the attention of Warner Brothers, propelling them to direct the well-received neo-noir film Bound in 1996. The Wachowskis' professional trajectory soared with the 1999 release of The Matrix, a film that integrated philosophical concepts with impressive visual effects, becoming a cultural hit. Lily and Lana proceeded to write and helm the subsequent Matrix installments, The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions, both released in 2003. In 2016, following Lana's public transgender disclosure 4 years prior, Lily also announced her identity as a transgender woman. "I am one of the lucky ones. I had a support system that accepted me," Lily expressed in a statement. "Not everybody has that. Transgender people deserve something vital. They deserve your respect. From that respect comes a more compassionate community." Lily's transparency regarding her gender identity, akin to Lana's, contributed to the advancement of LGBTQ+ representation in the film industry. The Wachowskis have persisted in innovating narrative techniques with projects such as the Netflix series Sense8, which delves into themes of identity, empathy, and human connection. The Wachowski sisters have established themselves as pioneers in the entertainment sector through their groundbreaking work and personal experiences, motivating a new generation of filmmakers to be true to themselves and extend the boundaries of cinematic potential. Erica Irvin. Amazon Eve, whose real name is Erica Irvin, is a statuesque American model, actress, and fitness trainer, boasting a height of 6 feet 8 inches, 2.03 m. Born in 1979 in Turlock, California, she experienced rapid growth during her childhood, measuring 5 feet 11 inches, 1.80 m at 14 and growing an additional 9 inches, 23 centimeters, within the next 4 years. Irvin's education took place in the San Francisco Bay Area, where she studied theater arts and business management in college. Her exceptional height posed challenges in securing acting roles, as she was frequently cast as extraterrestrial or monstrous characters. Despite these setbacks, Irvin explored careers in law and exercise physiology. However, she became dissatisfied with her weight and the corporate lifestyle. This dissatisfaction led her to embrace a fitness-focused lifestyle, transforming into a personal trainer. In this role, she aims to promote attainable health and fitness goals for herself and her clients, viewing herself as an enlarged embodiment of Superwoman. In 2011, Irvin earned the distinction of being the world's tallest professional model, as recognized by Guinness World Records, highlighting her resilience and commitment. Since then, she has appeared on the cover of the Australian magazine Zoo Weekly and has been featured in various international photo shoots and modeling assignments. Irvin's acting career includes roles in several films and TV series, such as a recurring part in American Horror Story Freak Show and a minor role in American Horror Story Apocalypse. Around 2004, when she was approximately 25 years old, Irvin underwent gender-affirming surgery. This significant decision came with its own set of challenges. In an interview, she expressed her concerns, stating, My biggest fears were all about losing my family. Once they accepted me, everything else has been a piece of cake. Irvin's candidness about her gender identity has positioned her as an influential figure for the LGBTQ+ community, motivating others to be true to themselves and chase their aspirations, regardless of the hurdles they face. Amazon Eve's story is a testament to self-acceptance and resilience. Share this inspiring journey with someone who needs to see it. Comment with a 1 if you're inspired by her courage, or 2 if you're still searching for your own strength. Let's celebrate individuality. Laverne Cox. Laverne Cox, born on May 29, 1972 in Mobile, Alabama, is a renowned American actress and a prominent advocate for the LGBTQ+ community, particularly for transgender individuals. Her childhood was marked by considerable difficulties, including bullying and harassment due to her feminine identity, which once led her to attempt suicide at the age of 11. Despite these challenges, Cox was steadfast in her pursuit of a career in the performing arts. Cox's educational journey began with a scholarship to the Alabama School of Fine Arts in Birmingham, followed by a dance scholarship to Indiana University. It was during her college years that she fully embraced her identity as a transgender woman, undergoing medical transition and living authentically as a female. Her significant career breakthrough arrived in 2012 when she was cast in the widely praised Netflix series Orange is the New Black. In the show, she portrayed Sophia Bassett, a transgender woman in prison seeking access to hormone treatments. This pioneering role earned Cox the distinction of being the first openly transgender actress to be nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award in an acting category. Reflecting on her journey, Cox said, "I was told many times that I wouldn't be able to have a mainstream career as an actor because I'm trans, because I'm black, and here I am. And it feels really good." Beyond her celebrated acting career, Laverne Cox has been a dedicated advocate for the LGBTQ+ community, producing documentaries such as Laverne Cox Presents the T-Word and Disclosure, which highlight the lives and challenges of transgender people. She has also made history by appearing on the covers of esteemed publications like Time magazine, British Vogue, and Essence, being the first openly transgender person to achieve this honor. Cox's groundbreaking career and persistent activism have been a source of inspiration for many, fostering empowerment within the transgender community and advocating for increased visibility and acceptance. She has emphasized the importance of representation, stating, "The transgender community deserves the opportunity to turn on the TV and see themselves." Her extraordinary journey exemplifies the strength of resilience, authenticity, and the profound effect of having diverse representation in media. Laura Jane Grace. Laura Jane Grace, originally named Thomas James Gable at birth in 1980 in Fort Benning, Georgia, is a prominent American singer, songwriter, and guitarist, renowned for her role as the founder and lead vocalist of the punk rock band Against Me. Having a military background, Grace's childhood was characterized by frequent relocations due to her father's service in the U.S. Army, living in various places including Texas, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Germany, and Naples, Italy. At 13, Grace started her first rock band, performing covers of songs by Nirvana and Pearl Jam. The next year, an encounter with the law on Independence Day introduced her to anarcho-punk music and fanzines. This led to her decision to leave high school at the age of 17 to fully commit to Against Me in 1997. Despite financial challenges, the band released their first album, Against Me is Reinventing Axl Rose, in 2002, followed by several well-received albums that garnered a loyal following. In May 2012, amidst Against Me's rising popularity, Grace publicly disclosed her identity as a transgender woman in an interview with Rolling Stone, making her one of the first openly transgender musicians in the punk scene. Transitioning in the public eye came with unique pressures, as Grace had to decide between go and hide away and forget about being a musician and in a band, or embracing her authentic self. Grace's 2014 album, Transgender Dysphoria Blues, confronted her experiences with gender dysphoria head-on, receiving extensive praise and solidifying her position as a pioneer for transgender visibility in the music industry. Since then, she has continued to leverage her influence to champion LGBTQ+ rights, contributing to documentaries such as Laverne Cox Presents the T-Word and Disclosure. Despite the difficulties of transitioning in the public sphere, Grace appreciates the advancements in transgender recognition and acceptance over the past 10 years. She commented on the significance of the government's acknowledgement of transgender Americans during the Obama administration, stating, "It's more of one about being included. To have the government recognize it was legitimizing, and that was huge to me." Residing in Chicago with her spouse, Paris Campbell, Laura Jane Grace persists in crafting impactful, reflective music that mirrors her continuous quest for self-discovery and empowerment. As she expressed to Vulture in 2024, embracing one's true self represents not the conclusion but the commencement of a new chapter, emphasizing that profound insights may continue to emerge even 12 years later from this transformative experience. Elliot Page. Elliot Page, a renowned Canadian actor and producer, has left an indelible mark on the entertainment industry. Born on February 21, 1987, in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Page was initially assigned female at birth and named Ellen Philpotts Page. He attended the Halifax Grammar School and later Queen Elizabeth High School before completing his education at the Shambhala School in 2005. Page's foray into acting started at the age of 10 with a role in the CBC television movie Pit Pony, which later became a television series airing from 1999 to 2000. For his performance in the series, Page was nominated for both a Gemini Award and a Young Artist Award. In the subsequent years, he took on various roles in Canadian projects, including the well-received series Trailer Park Boys and several praised maritime films. His major breakthrough arrived in 2005 with the independent film Hard Candy, where he played a 14-year-old who encounters a 30-year-old photographer online and attempts to unmask him as a pedophile. This role garnered him widespread critical acclaim and opened the door to roles in more prominent productions, including the X-Men franchise and the successful comedy Juno in 2007. For his performance in Juno, Page was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress. In 2014, at a Human Rights Campaign conference, Page publicly disclosed his sexual orientation, saying, "I am here today because I am gay. Maybe I can make a difference to help others have an easier and more hopeful time." This announcement was a pivotal moment for Page, who had previously grappled with the impact of concealing his sexuality. In December 2020, Page made another significant revelation, declaring that he identifies as a transgender man and adopting the name Elliot. He shared, "I feel lucky to be writing this, to be here, to have arrived at this place in my life." In response, Netflix, the streaming platform responsible for the series The Umbrella Academy, where Page appears, demonstrated strong support by updating all of the actor's credits and metadata to reflect his new name. Daniela Vega. Daniela Vega, a prominent Chilean transgender actress and operatic singer, has left an indelible mark on the entertainment world. Hailing from San Miguel, Santiago, Vega was nurtured in a supportive family environment with her father, Igor Vega, managing a printing business, and her mother, Sandra Hernandez, being a homemaker. Her innate operatic singing talent was recognized by a teacher during her early years, leading her to perform in local productions in Santiago, which fueled her love for the arts. Upon completing high school, Vega pursued a career as a hairstylist. However, she also engaged in the local theater scene during her leisure time. Her acting journey began with plays such as La Mujer Mariposa, The Butterfly Woman, where she took on a leading role. In 2014, Vega's visibility increased significantly with her appearance in the music video for Maria by Chilean artist Manuel Garcia. That same year, she made her cinematic debut in The Guest, marking a milestone in her acting career. Daniela Vega's significant career milestone occurred in 2017 with her leading role in the highly praised Chilean film A Fantastic Woman. Under the direction of Sebastián Lelio, the movie narrates the story of Marina, a transgender woman who encounters societal prejudice and discrimination following the unexpected death of her partner, Orlando. Vega's genuine depiction of Marina, informed by her personal experiences as a transgender woman, brought an emotional intensity to the character that connected with both audiences and critics. The film received the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film in 2018, and Vega made history as the first openly transgender individual to present at the Oscars. Vega has shared insights about her portrayal of Marina, stating, "I did create a backstory for her. I incorporated a lot of resilience into her. When I discovered that I was a woman and I wanted to share it with the people around me and with the world, I discovered that women have an enormous capacity for resilience." This perspective mirrors Vega's own life narrative, marked by numerous challenges, including discrimination and violence attributable to her transgender identity. Indya Moore. Indya Moore is a groundbreaking American actor, model, and social activist who has had a notable influence in the entertainment field. Born on January 17, 1995, in the Bronx, New York, Moore has Puerto Rican, Dominican, and Haitian heritage. During their upbringing, they encountered significant adversities, including leaving their parents' home at 14 due to transphobia, which led to their entry into the foster care system. Moore's commitment to the arts and the motivation to enact change propelled them towards a career in entertainment. They started modeling at 15, collaborating with renowned brands like Dior and Gucci before moving into acting. A significant turning point in Moore's career was in 2018 when they were cast as Angel Evangelista, a transgender sex worker in the widely praised FX series Pose. Their compelling and genuine performance of the character garnered extensive praise and acknowledgement, including a nomination for a Critics' Choice Television Award for Best Supporting Actress in a Drama Series. Beyond their acting career, Moore has been a fervent supporter of LGBTQ+ rights and representation. They have candidly discussed their experiences as a transgender and non-binary person, leveraging their influence to increase awareness and combat discrimination. Moore has expressed, "My choice to identify as non-binary, though I typically express in femme ways, is to constantly disrupt the notion of the gender construct. Binaries force us into performative expectations that none of us purely live up to, and when we choose to live outside of those expectations, we experience violence. Trans and gender-variant people experience the worst kinds." Acknowledging Moore's advocacy, in 2019 they were honored as one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people globally. Additionally, they made history in the fashion industry by becoming the first transgender person to appear on the cover of the US edition of Elle magazine. Chris Mosier. Chris Mosier is a pioneering American athlete, coach, and advocate who has been instrumental in advancing transgender visibility in sports. Born in 1980 in Chicago, Illinois, Mosier always knew that his gender identity as a male was at odds with the female sex he was assigned at birth. Facing numerous challenges and discrimination, he was steadfast in his commitment to live authentically and follow his passion for sport. Initially, Mosier competed in the women's category as a triathlete and duathlete, where he demonstrated exceptional skill. However, the discomfort of competing as a woman was a constant presence. As he mentioned, "Competing as a woman, I thought about gender all the time, to a point where it interfered with my ability to be successful because I didn't feel comfortable at races." In 2010, Mosier initiated his medical transition, which included a legal name change and hormone therapy. A significant milestone in his career occurred in 2015, when Mosier became the first openly transgender man to join a US men's national team, participating in the sprint duathlon at the World Championships. This groundbreaking moment led to a policy revision by the International Olympic Committee, permitting transgender athletes to participate in the Olympics. In 2020, Mosier once again made history by being the first openly transgender athlete to take part in the US Olympic trials, although an injury prevented him from completing the race. Throughout his journey, Mosier has encountered various challenges, including discrimination from race spectators and volunteers. He has expressed, "Doing an Ironman race is nothing compared to me just existing in the world and some of the pain and the hurt that I had felt up to that point in identifying as trans and having interactions with the world." Despite these adversities, Mosier's resilience and determination have remained steadfast, and he has used his platform to champion transgender rights and inclusion in sports. In 2013, Mosier established transathlete.com, a thorough resource providing information on transgender involvement in athletics across various levels. He has collaborated with organizations such as You Can Play and Go, athletes to foster LGBTQ+ visibility and establish safer environments in sports. As we bring our journey through the inspiring stories of transgender pioneers to a close, let's take a moment to consider the impact of their courage and determination. Are you inspired by their resilience? If you're feeling that spark, show your support by liking this video and commenting with a 9. If not, let us know with a 0. Your feedback fuels our mission to share transformative tales. And remember, for more stories that challenge and uplift, subscribe to Iconic Performers who died in front of their audiences. As the old adage conveys, to die doing what you love is perceived as a significant blessing. It represents the ultimate joy of engaging in your passions right up to life's final act, even if it entails risks such as those involved in daredevil activities like tightrope walking or aerial gymnastics. Yet sometimes this notion becomes tragically literal when individuals lose their lives mid-performance. When musicians play their last note, actors recite their final dialogue on stage, or television personalities make one last appearance before an audience. They exit under dire circumstances and in full view of many witnesses who may be left with lasting trauma. From stunts that turned fatal to combatants whose confrontations ended with grave consequences, to seasoned musicians unable to conclude their concluding set, here are remarkable individuals who perfectly embodied the principle of working till they could work no more on stage or during live broadcasts. Dimebag Darrell Abbott. The allure of a concert, especially within the cozy confines of a small club, lies in the close connection between the performers and the audience, with no barriers in between. However, this proximity sometimes comes with less stringent security measures. This shortfall became devastatingly apparent on December 8, 2004, during a performance by rock band Damage Plan at the Alrosa Villa Club in Columbus, Ohio. Damage Plan was a new project formed by Dimebag Darrell Abbott, the guitarist from the well-known metal group Pantera, after their split. Nathan Gale, a 25-year-old former Marine, secretly entered the club armed with a firearm and climbed onto the stage shortly after Damage Plan had started playing. Mere moments into the first song, only 90 seconds, the set turned tragic as Gale began shooting at Abbott. Tragically, the 38-year-old guitarist was among those who lost their lives that night, alongside fan Nathan Bray, crew member Jeff Thompson, and a club employee Erin Holk. CBS News conveyed that Gale, who was said by his mother to be discharged from the military for mental health issues, was also killed that night, shot by a responding police officer. Although various speculations concerning Gale's motives circulated, none were definitively validated. Richard Versailles. Opera often dramatizes various tragic themes, captivating audiences with emotive performances that, while powerful, are safely contained within the realm of storytelling. However, an unforeseen event at the Metropolitan Opera in New York starkly blurred the lines between stage tragedy and real-life sorrow for opera singer Richard Versailles, leading to a profoundly accidental but poignant demonstration of life-imitating art. In January 1996, during a performance of the Makropoulos case, Versailles was embodying Vitek, an elderly employee of a law office. The opening scene required Versailles to ascend a library-style ladder to file away a document. As he delivered the line, "Too bad you can only live so long," life imitated art far too closely when Versailles unexpectedly plummeted from the ladder. The tragic irony was that this fall was not part of the performance. The 63-year-old tenor who had graced stages across Europe and other locales was felled by a fatal heart attack, causing him to lose his footing. Nick Menza. The concept of a death fitting of a metal icon is as hardcore as the genre itself, and Nick Menza embodied what it means to be metal. Before his sudden demise, Menza rocked as an integral member of the legendary band Megadeth, where he's seen second from the left in the picture, mastering the drums with them through the 1990s. He showcased his prowess on celebrated albums such as Rust in Peace and Countdown to Extinction. Menza's talent extended beyond Megadeth as he played with multiple bands, including Chodel's Trunk, Fear Assembly, Orphaned to Hatred, and OM. Tragically, it was in May 2016 during a performance with OHM, a project initiated by his former Megadeth mate, guitarist Chris Poland, at a jazz venue in Los Angeles known as the Baked Potato, that Menza's heart tragically failed him. According to reports from emergency responders, the 51-year-old drummer suffered what looked to be a severe heart attack. He collapsed on stage midway through the third tune of the set and devastatingly was declared dead upon arriving at a hospital nearby. Sibi Hassan. As an original pillar of the band Boston, drummer Sib Hassan contributed to the rhythm section on two of the era's monumental rock albums, Boston, which sold an impressive 17 million copies, and Don't Look Back with 7 million units sold. Those days, however, were part of a bygone era, and the demand for Boston's music had diminished over time. In his later years, Hassan joined other rock veterans on the classic rock nostalgia tour and embarked on the Legends of Rock cruise. Music aficionados on this cruise were serenaded by a lineup that included past members of illustrious groups like Foreigner Kansas, the Beach Boys, and of course Boston, among other favorites from your dad's record collection. Regrettably, in 2017, Hassan set out for what would be his final journey, departing Miami in March bound for a series of Caribbean locales. Sadly, during one of the seafaring shows, the 67-year-old Hassan suddenly collapsed behind his drum kit. Despite exhaustive efforts from the ship's emergency personnel, Hassan could not be resuscitated. Jerome Rodale. During the mid-20th century, Jerome Rodale, also known as J.I. Rodale, championed health practices that were considered rather unconventional at the time, such as advocating for the consumption of foods free from heavy antibiotics and supporting local food sources. Rodale dedicated years to writing and speaking about these and other health-related practices, confident they would significantly extend one's lifespan. On June 7, 1971, while appearing on a recorded episode of ABC's The Dick Cavett Show, the 72-year-old proponent of longevity optimistically claimed he had never felt better and boasted that he would live to 100, as reported by the New York Times. Tragically, Rodale's time fell far short of his centennial prediction. He passed away just minutes after expressing this sentiment. Remaining on stage as Cavett engaged with another guest, Rodale suddenly became still before emitting a disturbing, deep noise. His complexion turned pale, his mouth agape, marking his unexpected death right there on the Dick Cavett Show, witnessed by a live studio audience. Because YouTube will prioritize interactive videos, please comment OK if you find this video interesting. Thank you. Cole Bruce Hampton. Regardless of whether you're a fan of jam bands like Grateful Dead, Fish, and the String Cheese Incident, with their extended improvisational guitar jams, you owe a debt of gratitude to Colonel Bruce Hampton. He was affectionately known as the jam scene's patriarch and collaborated with an array of musical groups, including the Quark Alliance, the Late Bronze Age, and Hampton Grease Band. In May 2017, a gathering of Hampton's colleagues, admirers, and fellow musicians took place at the venerable Fox Theatre in Atlanta for Hampton 70, a celebration of Colonel Bruce Hampton, which, unexpectedly, turned out to be Hampton's swan song performance. Celebrating his 70th birthday, which had occurred the previous day, the event brought together an array of talent for an epic jam tribute to Hampton and his musical legacy. During one performance, as the young guitar prodigy Taz Niederauer was wowing the crowd with his skills, Hampton unassumingly dropped to his knees, leaning on a speaker. Completely oblivious to the gravity of the situation, Niederauer, along with members from Blues Traveler and Widespread Panic, kept the music going with Turn On Your Love Light, while Hampton had tragically taken his final bow. Reverend Jeff Mosier, a banjoist taking part in the event, stated on Facebook that at first it seemed like Hampton dropped to his knees as a gesture of mock subservience to Niederauer's talent, not because he was in distress. Sadly, it was the latter. Hampton had taken his last breath and passed away right there. Dick Shawn. In April 1987, the comedian Dick Shawn entertained a crowd of around 500 at the University of California, San Diego, with a show filled with humor and creativity. He began with an act where he portrayed a severed head laid out on a dinner table, followed by a scene where he humorously danced off-beat to music. Shawn then moved on to a performance about the apocalypse, during which he lay motionless on the stage, leading the audience to believe he was playing dead, tying into the theme of global annihilation. An audience member, Tom Wortel, recounted to the LA Times how audience remarks like "take his wallet" seamlessly integrated into Sean's act, given its theme. However, after Sean remained still for over 5 minutes, the crowd's laughter and jests faded away. Subsequently, a physician rushed to the stage, checked for a pulse, and turned Sean onto his back. The spectators were then asked to leave as Sean was given CPR, and shortly after, an ambulance was dispatched to transport him to a hospital. Efforts to revive him proved futile, and Sean was declared dead less than 2 hours after the performance began, at the age of 57. Tommy Cooper. In April 1984, the iconic Welsh comedian and magician Tommy Cooper gave a performance on the variety show Live from Her Majesty's, which was being broadcast live across the UK from London's Her Majesty's Theatre. Cooper performed his renowned Magic Cloak act, where he humorously produced increasingly large items from beneath a voluminous gown, to the amusement of the audience. For this act, the show's host, Jimmy Tarbuck, served as Cooper's assistant. Tarbuck explained to Wales Online that the skit was intended to climax with him handing Cooper a stepladder, humorously implying it was too sizable to have been concealed under the gown, highlighting the act's playfully absurd nature. However, the performance took an unexpected and somber turn. Following a routine where a lovely assistant joined him, Cooper suddenly collapsed onto the stage, which Tarbuck initially believed to be an attempt at impromptu physical comedy, a common element in Cooper's performances. The live audience responded with laughter, unaware they were witnessing a real-life emergency rather than a comedic act. Unfortunately, the 63-year-old Cooper was experiencing a heart attack during the live broadcast. In a swift decision, the show's director immediately cut to an unplanned commercial break to spare viewers at home from the distressing scene of Cooper being hurriedly taken off stage. Subsequently, he was transported to a hospital where he was declared dead on arrival. Owen Hart. In the 1990s, Owen Hart carved out his place as one of the most beloved and electrifying figures in WWE, sharing the ring and the wrestling heritage with his brother, Bret the Hitman Hart. In May 1999, during the Over the Edge pay-per-view event, Hart was scheduled to make an entrance as a pompous superhero character. This character, Blue Blazer, was set to be spectacularly lowered into the ring from the rafters using a sophisticated wire rigging system. Unfortunately, a catastrophic failure of this system caused Hart to fall 78 feet, striking the top rope before collapsing into the ring, a fall that would prove fatal. The silence that enveloped the 16,000 spectators at Kansas City's Kemper Arena was deafening as broadcaster Jim Ross faced the grim task of informing those present that what they had witnessed was not planned or part of the show's theatrics in any manner. TV viewers, spared the sight of the incident itself due to the broadcast airing highlights of Hart's previous matches at the moment, were oblivious to the unfolding tragedy. Hart, who had just turned 34 years old, was quickly taken to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. Irma Bule. Do you recall the iconic moment in 2001 when Britney Spears performed with a python at the MTV Video Music Awards? Now think of a scenario where the snake wasn't handled safely, resulting in Spears being bitten and fatally injured. Tragically, this scenario did occur with Irma Bule, a singer from Indonesia. In 2016, during a performance in Karawang, Indonesia, 29-year-old Bule was using a live snake, a cobra no less, as part of her act, a practice she had been familiar with for years. However, early into her performance, merely during her second song, the cobra bit her on the thigh. Familiarity with using non-venomous snakes in the past, like pythons, whose mouths were secured closed, led Bule to underestimate the danger. She assumed the cobra had been made safe either through defanging or removal of its venom. This time, unfortunately, no such precautions had been taken, yet Bule was encouraged to go on with the performance. Roughly 45 minutes after the bite, while still on stage, Bule began to vomit and experience seizures. She was swiftly taken to a local hospital where she was declared dead. Because YouTube will prioritize interactive videos, please comment OK if you find this video interesting. Thank you. Tiny Tim. Tiny Tim stood out in the music world as an extraordinarily distinctive hitmaker. Tall and lanky, with an appearance in stark contrast to his stage name, he delivered songs with a remarkably high, wavering and delicate voice. His rendition of the old-time favorite Tiptoe Through the Tulips With Me became a cultural sensation when it ascended to the 17th spot on the Billboard pop chart in 1968, his act further marked by his signature ukulele accompaniment. Adding to his unconventional fame, Tiny Tim married a young 17-year-old fan named Vicky on The Tonight Show in 1969, which was broadcast to a staggering 21.4 million households, setting a viewership record for Johnny Carson's show at the time. Tiny Tim's life was as remarkable as his character, and his death mirrored his passion for bringing joy to others. On the evening of November 30th, 1996, he was performing at a fundraising event hosted by the Women's Club of Minneapolis. Midway through his iconic song, Tiptoe Through the Tulips With Me, he suddenly ceased playing and informed his wife, Susan Gardner, he had divorced Vicky years prior, that he wasn't feeling well. Shortly thereafter, at 64 years of age, the entertainer collapsed and tragically passed away a few hours later in a Minneapolis hospital, with cardiac arrest being the likely cause. Barbara Weldons. The French vocalist Weldons was on the trajectory to fame when her burgeoning career and life were abruptly halted by a tragic mishap on stage. In 2017, at the age of 35, Weldons had recently introduced her debut album, Le Grand de l'Homme, to acclaim and was a headline performer at the Léo Ferré Festival, held within a church in the small village of Goudron, France. Those present recounted that Weldons delivered an exceptional performance, which was met with enthusiastic applause. Basking in the adulation, she tragically collapsed, succumbing to a sudden cardiac arrest. Initial assessments regarding the cause of this dreadful event were speculative. However, it was preliminarily suggested that an electrical fault might have led to Weldon's heart failure. Subsequently, a post-mortem examination revealed that electrocution was the definitive cause of death. It was noted that Weldons had chosen to perform barefoot, which tragically could have led her to step on an electrified wire, resulting in her untimely electrocution. Hijo del perro aguayo. In March 2015, a highly anticipated match took place within the realm of the AAA, Mexico's wrestling scene equivalent to the WWE, featuring two of its most luminous stars, Hijo del Perro Aguayo, real name Pedro Aguayo Ramirez, and Rey Mysterio Jr., real name Oscar Gutierrez. Aguayo was renowned as the preeminent rudo, or villain, in the Apolé circuit. During this bout, Mysterio executed a potent flying kick, propelling Aguayo toward the ropes with such force that Aguayo's head struck them, leading to what appeared to be severe spinal injury. As Aguayo remained motionless on the mat, both Mysterio and the referee quickly realized the gravity of the situation and called for medical assistance. The response was tortuously delayed, with the attending physician arriving 80 seconds later, a span during which critical intervention could have been administered. The Tijuana Wrestling Commission later disclosed that Aguayo's untimely demise at the age of 35 was the result of a heart attack which was itself precipitated by a cervical stroke following the breakage of his neck. Les Harvey. Performing on stage carries with it an array of potential hazards. Among these, there's the risk of stage equipment like lights unexpectedly falling or a performer accidentally stepping off the edge of the stage. However, it's the intricacies of electrical setups required to energize the myriad of electric guitars and amplifiers that introduced a lethal risk for Les Harvey, the guitarist of the emergent Scottish blues rock ensemble Stone the Crows. On May 3, 1972, before a concert in Swansea, Wales unfolded, and with approximately 1,200 spectators in attendance, Harvey was engaged in tuning his guitar. In a moment that seemed utterly routine for any experienced musician, he reached for a microphone, a decision that met with tragic consequences. The microphone, having been improperly grounded, became the conduit for a deadly electrical surge that coursed through Harvey's body. The resulting injuries were so severe that Harvey succumbed to them in the hospital. His death, occurring at the tender age of 27, added him to the lamentable list of talented artists whose lives ended prematurely. Sam Patch. The shock and sorrow that reverberate through a crowd upon witnessing the death of a performer are profound, whether it be an actor, a singer, or a professional daredevil. The inherent risks in daredevilry perhaps make such an outcome less surprising, though no less tragic. Sam Patch, who became a renowned daredevil in the early 19th century, was known for his breathtaking leaps from the edge of Passaic Falls in New Jersey into the waters below. With each passing attempt, his stunts grew increasingly audacious and consequently attracted ever-growing audiences. In 1829, a grand narrative was set. On the foreboding date of Friday, November 13th, Patch was to make his last jump, projecting himself from a 125-foot platform over Rochester, New York's high falls of the Genesee River. The term last jump was intended to signal the end of the season's performances. However, a cruel twist of destiny interpreted that phrase with a fatal literalness. The New York Evening Post chronicled the unfortunate event, noting that halfway through his descent, Patch's posture deteriorated, his body slackened, his arms outstretched, his legs parted. His form was disastrously incorrect. Upon impact with the water, something went terribly wrong and Patch failed to resurface. His remains were recovered 4 months later, 6 miles downstream, encased within a block of ice. An examination later deduced that the cause of Patch's demise, mid-fall, was a burst blood vessel triggered by the abrupt exposure to the bracing chill of the November air. Jane Little. Experiencing one's final moments while immersed in a cherished pursuit is a prospect both sorrowful and startling for onlookers, yet some may perceive such an end as having a profound resonance. This sentiment seems fitting for Jane Little, who, as a devoted double-bass performer, committed her life to the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. Her journey with the ASO began in 1945 when she was merely 16, and her dedication spanned an extraordinary 7+ decades. Little's lifetime allegiance to music didn't go unnoticed. In February 2016, she achieved recognition from Guinness World Records for having the longest tenure with an orchestra, marking a grand 71 years with the ASO. However, a few months following this accolade, in May 2016, life's delicate cadence came to a close for Little. During a performance that celebrated Broadway's golden age through an array of classic stage melodies, the 87-year-old, who was enduring cancer treatments and was reportedly fragile, passionately continued to play. It was amidst the iconic number, "There's No Business Like Show Business," that Little took her last breath, collapsing with her bass still in hand. Swiftly ushered backstage, it was there that her passionate heart beat its final note. Oney Wheeler. In the era of the 50s and 60s, Oney Wheeler established himself as a prominent fixture in the country music scene, a time when it was more commonly referred to as country and western music. Besides his solo work, the adept guitarist and harmonica player lent his talents to support legends like Johnny Cash, Ray Acuff, and George Jones. Additionally, Lefty Frizzell found considerable success with a song penned by Wheeler titled "Run 'Em Off." By the 70s and 80s, Wheeler was entrenched in Nashville's music sphere, often gracing the stage of the storied Grand Ole Opry. A deep-rooted country music stalwart could scarcely dream of a more fitting final curtain call than one at the Opry, which is precisely the farewell Wheeler had. Wheeler faced a challenging start to the year 1984 when he suffered from an aneurysm, necessitating hospitalization and an extensive recovery period. Undeterred, Wheeler soon found himself back in the limelight. However, in May of that year, while performing at the Opry and during the live taping of Reverend Jimmy Snow's Grand Ole Gospel Time, Wheeler experienced a fatal collapse. Because YouTube will prioritize interactive videos, please comment OK if you find this video interesting. Thank you. Mike Scaccia. Mike Scaccia was an essential player in the evolution of two pivotal underground rock movements that emerged in the 1980s, thrash metal and industrial metal. His journey into the fray of thrash metal began with the formation of Rigor Mortis in 1983. Later on, he would venture into industrial metal by joining Ministry in 1989 after an invitation from frontman Al Jourgensen, coinciding with the band's transition from a synth-pop foundation to a more robust, guitar-laden and electronic-infused sound. As the lead guitarist of Ministry, Scaccia contributed to their most commercially successful record, Psalm 69, The Way to Succeed and The Way to Suck Eggs, and played on standout tracks like Jesus Built My Hot Rod and NWO. Nevertheless, Scaccia's bond with rigor mortis remained, and on December 22, 2012, he found himself playing at the Rail Club in Fort Worth, Texas, to celebrate the 50th birthday of the band's vocalist, Bruce Corbett. In the midst of his performance, Scaccia was suddenly overtaken by a collapse. He was promptly transported to a hospital, yet, regrettably, was declared dead upon arrival. The subsequent findings by a medical examiner attributed the 47-year-old guitarist's untimely death to an unexpected heart attack, which was set off by underlying heart disease. Yu Zhaogu and Ying Zhao, a married couple from China who both played the violin, settled in the Houston area and became integral members of the Symphony of Southeast Texas in the mid-1990s. This ensemble quickly grew to be their primary artistic outlet, with both contributing significantly to its string section over the years. As stand partners, Ying Zhao was tragically close to her husband when, on April 6, 2019, during the orchestra's season finale at a theater in Beaumont, Texas, Yu Zhaogu unexpectedly collapsed from his seat to the floor. The performance came to an immediate halt as audience members, including several doctors and a cardiologist from within the orchestra itself, sprang into action to assist, administering CPR until emergency paramedics arrived. Despite the swift response, by the time Gu was transported to a local hospital, it was tragically too late, and he was declared dead at the age of 60. Mark Sandman. During the 1990s, Morphine distinguished itself as one of the alternative rock scene's most distinctive bands, known for their enigmatic and somewhat disconcerting sound. Much of this unique auditory experience can be attributed to the band's lead singer and bassist, Mark Sandman, who was celebrated for his innovative, slow, deep playing style that infused Morphine's music with a hauntingly eerie quality. Adding a chilling layer to this narrative was the sudden heart attack Sandman suffered while performing. The tragic event unfolded in 1999 during the Giardini del Principe festival just outside Rome. Sandman, who was 46 years old at the time and appeared to be in good health, abruptly ceased his performance and collapsed on stage. In the critical minutes that followed, as he was being transported to a hospital in an ambulance, Sandman was declared deceased. The unexpected loss of the musician left thousands of fans and spectators in disbelief. Morphine's band members and their circle were equally overwhelmed by grief, with their manager conveying to the Los Angeles Times their profound devastation, stating, "We're devastated. We don't even know what to say. We're all in shock." Louis Vierne. In the early decades of the 20th century, Louis Vierne occupied what many would consider the pinnacle position for a church organist, serving as the resident organist at the iconic Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Vierne was a master of the organ, drawing crowds eager to experience his ethereal performances, especially of his own compositions, which included 6 symphonies. However, in 1937, the Catholic Church clergy overseeing Notre Dame made the decision to cease all organ recitals. Thankfully, they allowed Vierne one final performance on June 2, 1937. Vierne, who could be likened to the Elvis Presley of organists during his era, had weathered a series of personal tragedies alongside his professional triumphs. These misfortunes included infidelity by his wife, the death of one son from tuberculosis, and the loss of another in World War I. Furthermore, a severe fall that badly damaged his leg and ankle forced him to painstakingly relearn his technique for playing the organ pedals. The accumulation of these stresses led Vierne to a heavy dependency on cigarettes, consuming up to 3 packs a day, and regular use of heart medication, tranquilizers, and sleeping pills. Vierne's final performance at Notre Dame drew a crowd of approximately 3,000 people. This concert, unbeknownst to those in attendance, would become his ultimate appearance. After completing an original piece, he whispered to his assistant, "I'm going to be ill," as reported by HuffPost. Vierne then played a single sustained note, a note that unceasingly resonated as it became clear he had passed away from a heart attack in his most cherished place. Edith Webster. Webster was a beloved figure in the suburban Baltimore theater scene, frequently gracing the stage at the Towson Moose Lodge. In November 1986, she reprised a familiar role, the grandmother-in-law of the central character in The Drunkard, a musical melodrama with origins in the 19th century. This role called for her character's demise at the climax of the first act, immediately following the rendition of Please Don't Talk About Me When I'm Gone. Webster completed her performance of the ballad, dramatically grasped her heart, and collapsed on stage as the lights dimmed, mirroring an eerily accurate portrayal of her character's scripted death. In a tragic twist of fate, this moment saw Webster suffering a real heart attack, leading to her actual demise. The audience, immersed in the theater experience, initially interpreted Webster's fall as part of the act, responding with enthusiastic applause for what they believed was the end of a compelling performance. Unbeknownst to them, they had witnessed a tragic event. The play's director, Richard Bird, reflected on the poignant timing of Webster's passing to United Press International, as reported by the Los Angeles Times, noting that tremendous applause was the final earthly acknowledgement Webster received, marking her final curtain call in a profoundly solemn manner. Leonard Warren. Operas frequently portray narratives steeped in sorrow and calamity, a hallmark that often defines the genre. Leonard Warren, hailed as one of the greatest American baritones, tragically deepened the art form's association with tragedy through his unexpected death on stage, contributing an unforgettable chapter to the annals of opera history. In March 1960, during a performance at the Metropolitan Opera House in New York City, Warren was embodying the character of Don Carlo in Giuseppe Verdi's La Forza del Destino. At around 10 p.m., in the immediate aftermath of delivering the aria Urna Fatale del Mio Destino, ominously translating to Fatal Urn of My Destiny, Warren's voice faltered, his strength waned, and he collapsed onto the stage. Within the span of a mere half hour, the celebrated baritone was declared deceased. The subsequent autopsy concluded that a sudden heart attack had claimed his life, marking an eerie convergence of the opera's melancholic themes with a real-life misfortune. Alan Marshall. Alan Marshall, hailing from Sydney, Australia, carved out a commendable niche for himself in the Hollywood of the 1930s and 40s as a versatile actor capable of embodying an array of roles. Often cast as the antagonist, a steadfast soldier, or the initial love interest of the lead female character, who inevitably leaves him for her true love, Marshall showcased his range in both film and theatre. His dedication to his theatrical origins was evident as he continued to perform in plays alongside his film work, marking a full-circle moment in his final act. In what would become his swan song, Marshall took to the stage in Sextet, a risque comedy penned and headlined by the iconic Mae West. At the age of 52, while performing at the Edgewater Beach Hotel in Chicago, Marshall suffered a heart attack mid-performance. Demonstrating an extraordinary commitment to his craft, he summoned the will to complete his performance despite the dire circumstances. However, following the conclusion of Sextet, Marshall's condition took a tragic turn and he was subsequently discovered deceased in his hotel room, leaving behind a legacy of professionalism and a devotion to the performing arts that endures beyond his final curtain call. Simon Barere. In 1951, the renowned Russian pianist Simon Barere took his place at the piano in Carnegie Hall, preparing to perform alongside the Philadelphia Orchestra for the first time. For approximately the first 2 minutes, Barere's performance was nothing short of exceptional, a testament to his unparalleled skill. However, it wasn't long before the audience began to perceive a troubling change in Barere's execution. The precision of his tempo wavered, accompanied by the intrusion of discordant notes. This worrying trend reached its climax when Barere ceased playing altogether, his body succumbing to a forward slump that ended with his head striking the piano keys, followed by his fall to the floor. Promptly, a doctor in attendance rushed to Barere's aid, aiding in carrying the stricken musician backstage. As the audience sat in distressed anticipation, Swedish tenor Seth Svanholm continued with the scheduled performance, providing a stark contrast to the urgent medical battle unfolding behind the scenes. Despite the determined efforts of 3 doctors to resuscitate the 54-year-old pianist in his dressing room, their attempts were in vain. Barrère was declared dead even before the arrival of an ambulance, with a stroke being identified as the cause of his tragic demise, marking a somber end to his illustrious career. The stories we've shared are a solemn reminder of the unpredictable and often poignant path of performers whose final curtain fell unexpectedly. These tales undoubtedly stir emotions and provoke thought about the sacrifice for art. As we reflect on their legacies, what's your take? Does their final act underscore the fragility of life or celebrate the dedication to their craft? Comment yes if these stories move you, no if you see them differently. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for Iconic Inside for more compelling discussions. Your insights enrich our community, so let's hear them.